Here are 3 reasons why you're probably struggling to find your personality type. I'm making a video series on how you can tell apart 2 very similar personality types. And I often get comments saying, thanks, this is really helpful. But inevitably, I'm always at least going to get one comment like this. I was confused if I was an ISFP or INFP, but now I'm more confused than ever, and I think I may be a Scorpio too. For some people, picking a personality type can be a really big head scratcher, and I'm hoping I can help you solve that today. Which leads me to my first reason. Number 1, you just don't want to. Now look, I'm not saying you're consciously being obstinate and refusing to pick a type. Okay, well maybe some of you are like that, but for a lot of people, myself included, we don't want to feel like we're being thrown into some kind of box and lumped in with a whole bunch of people we don't like. Imagine finding out you have the same personality as one of the evil mustache dudes. There could also be some common stereotype that you don't really agree with or you think is really inaccurate, and it offends you that people would just think that you automatically have that. And I mean, the idea of taking the wholeness of your personality and just stamping a 4-letter code onto it just seems kind of gross. Number 2, the online tests suck. The first time I took the 16 personalities test, I got an INTP, or something close to that. I don't remember, it was a while ago. The test did give me INFP later, so there is that, but I mean it had a 1 in 16 chance of getting it right. It's kind of like a broken clock, it's going to be right 2 times a day, unless you try really hard to break it. I could probably make an entire video on why the online personality tests aren't that great, but that's for another day. It's important to realize that the online tests are meant to be fun. They don't want to ask you 100,000 questions because nobody would finish it or share it on Facebook. Heck, as it is right now, most ENFPs never finish. They've already moved on to Enneagram. So you're basically playing a game of 20 questions to pick your type. You don't technically need a lot of questions to type someone, but when you're using multiple choice questions, you kinda do. There isn't a lot of room for examination when the answer to every question is, on a scale of 0 to 5, how much do you agree with this statement? The biggest problem with these tests is they focus on the answers. But to type somebody accurately, it isn't the answer that matters, it's how they came to that answer. Myers-Briggs is like math. You need to show your work. If you're going to ask a question like, you like to experience new things, agree or disagree? Well, both ENFPs and ESFPs will say agree strongly, but they agree strongly for very different reasons. You probably could narrow it down if you ask enough questions, but remember we're playing 20Q here, we didn't exactly have time for that. I mean, heck, with the rise of short content, I don't even think people have time for 20 questions anymore. Future tests will only have 4 questions, and it'll just be completely random. Number 3, you don't understand cognitive functions. MBTI is all about the cognitive functions. If you thought Myers-Briggs were just about those 4 letters, then you have a lot to learn, my friend. And I have an entire playlist talking about all 8 of the cognitive functions. INFPs and INFJs are only separated by 1 letter. So you might think they're like twin personalities, and only a level 20 MBTI scholar with all of the certifications could tell the types apart. But actually, INFPs and INFJs have no cognitive functions in common. And because of this, they're quite different. They might share a bit in common, but the 2 are very different. So when you're looking to find your personality type, look at the 4 cognitive functions of the type you might think you are, and see if you can relate to them. If you think personal feelings don't matter and that everyone should use cold hard logic, then you probably don't have FI as your dominant cognitive function, and you're not an INFP. But 2 of the hardest personalities to tell apart are ISFPs and INFPs. But you can watch my video on how I tell them apart by clicking here.